Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're going to learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups. They're from different companies. They're from all kinds of different backgrounds. They've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're going to do after we're done.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What's up? Welcome to Williams and Blum Wednesday, 1:15 start time. Again, we got a timestamp this time of year. Stuff happens. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne. Go and pour yourself a glass of Cody Road bourbon. Maybe an Ames lager if you're not a whiskey guy. It is portal season. Is the portal open, Bloom?
Portal is open.
Yeah, portal is open.
Portal is still cooking.
As is Forever True Day.
Yeah.
That started at noon. I love this day. We spend 364 days a year talking sports on Williams and Blum. We want to talk something else here to lead. This is awesome what the Iowa State University Foundation does every year, where it's their biggest fundraiser. And the thing I love about it the most is that they're looking for everyday people. That's
you. If you're listening, that's you.
That's you. They're looking for the donor who... and there's other ways to do it, but this is like they love a $15 donation because it gets you in the mood to give more in the future, and you can do it to any organization on campus that you want. I have not made any of my donations yet, but I will. I always give to the marching band. I always give something to veterinary medicine with all the great companion animal funds and all that stuff that they have there. We love the Ivy College of Business here on the program. So many great options, Bloom. Used to work for the foundation. This is a big deal. They're one of our biggest supporters here on Cyclone Fanatic too, so we want to really support them. Last year, I was able to drum up 136 donations. I want to beat that this year. I want 150. Can you guys help me?
I'm going to start you off with one.
Thank you.
So I'm going to, when we're done with this program, two. Thank you. Avery.
Two. We got two.
We got two. But no, I'm Ivy College of Business for me.
Okay.
For my guy Dean David Spalding. I had a good chat with actually one of the accounting professors this morning.
Nice.
We're working on a project together, which would be really cool. And then Science Bound.
Yep. I'm going to give to Science Bound this year for the first time. I haven't done that in the past. I'm going to this year.
And I'm going to give it to the electronic media program with my professor, my guy, Professor James McNabb. Had me in class on Monday. Had an awesome time with the students. Man, we are in good shape for the future. I feel bad that they're getting into the media world with the current landscape, but other than that, I was really excited to talk to those young
coming
people.
For our jobs.
Hey, I hope so. It's time to pass the torch. Yeah, pass the torch.
Forever True Day, so it lasts 24 hours. Started at noon, ends at noon on Thursday. So please, it really is a huge deal to us to support the foundation. Really good people.
And honestly,
work there,
I know,
and
I know people get tired of getting asked for things, and the foundation only calls me when they want money. Everyone's doing it for really good reasons here.
Yeah.
And again, those are my colleagues and my friends, and those folks are doing something to advance Iowa State at the end of the day, and that's really why we're all here.
Well, it is why I've fallen in love with Iowa State. It's hard to say this right now because of some of the actions of a few over the last few days, but there's generally a pretty clean separation between the sports, there's not that. I'm sorry, I was saying that wrong. Like, most people who are Iowa State fans love Iowa State. Not all, but most. And that's one of the things I've always really appreciated the most about this fan base is, like, they'll support women's basketball. They'll support, like, hey, did you see that volleyball match? Volleyball before the night before football. Let's go check it out, right? Like, it's not
live streaming tennis.
Yes, I was doing that too. I was streaming it up on the TV when the tennis was playing in like the round of 16 or whatever it was, or the Final Four or whatever the hell they were in.
And then generally, it's not. I mean, again, Iowa State could use all the fans it can, but people care about the entire area and the university itself, and this is where the foundation comes in. They help not only they can help athletics too. You can give to athletics through the foundation, by the way.
Absolutely,
but they help all the programs. And if you went to Iowa State, you clearly were touched in some way. Hopefully in a positive way, and way to kind of, pay it forward in that regard.
So let me start with the portal stuff. And we're in this weird spot here. And I wanted to be very careful about how I address this because I want passion. I want every casual fan. I want the crazies. I want everybody to root for Iowa State basketball. But this portal situation that we've got going on here, and it's not just at Iowa State. This is across the board in college basketball. We got a real problem with, so I understand coaching staffs not wanting information out. I totally understand how it works. I also know that when reporters don't have information, craziness can run amok. And boy, have we experienced that over the last 5 days as a fan base at the Iowa State University. I'm just going to end it like this. And this is such a, you call me whatever you want. Otts Homer here. The guy has overachieved in every single capacity since he got to Iowa State. Never once has there... you could say other than this year, and I will give you that, but there's also a lot of nuance to that when you look at the injuries, right? Like, if you go into this year with Milan for half the season, with really no Keyshawn Gilbert January on, you had him a little bit, but it was weird. You're not putting that team in the top 5. Like, right? So, like, let's use some nuance here, people. They've always figured it out. I've covered the portal since it opened in whatever year that was, since it became a thing. It's never gone exactly as you planned. Ever. You're always having to go to plan B, C, and you're massaging this, and then you're doing that. Okay, we got to make an adjustment. So we've got this problem of misinformation, and we've got all this passion in the fan base, which we don't want to lose. You want it, and that's what being good does. You get all these people, and they're just rabid fans. It's why we have a show.
And an urgency factor, too, or like you want it now.
Correct. It's the instant gratification thing. So, like, I guess my opening statement today is, can everybody just tap the brakes and take a deep breath? It's all going to be good. They've had a pretty damn good start to the portal, in my opinion. Did you get Oscar Clough? No. Big man went to Purdue. That sucks. Purdue comes in, offers, I'm presumably a larger sum of money. I don't know.
The thing is, C-Dub, honestly, and this is a credit. This is a credit to Iowa State situation. I don't think any of this is really about like substantially more NIL dollars. I don't think. I mean, yes, there's a.
I do think that the staff liked the fact that Buchanan has 2 years, and they think he's a really good fit defensively.
Yeah, again, obviously Clough was a priority. He was the first to come to campus, but Iowa State took Buchanan before Oscar Clough committed to Purdue.
Correct. He could have very well picked Iowa State.
But obviously not after Buchanan picked Iowa State.
Yeah.
But I think, everyone in the NIL world, it's always like, oh, well, it must be a money thing. And sometimes it is. I don't think in Iowa State's current situation with Clough, or, obviously there's still a need for a guard, and there's an ongoing. Obviously, Iowa State has some thoughts of who it would want to be, and a young man was on campus this week and then visited Wisconsin this week, and Andrew Rohde, and he's got a decision to make. From what I understand, this is not dollars and cents with this guy or with Clough. I mean, yes, there was a little bit more, maybe Purdue did, a little bit more. It wasn't substantial, though. And so I think we got to be really careful, like, oh, well, it must be NIL just because the young person didn't commit there. Now, could we always use more NIL? Yes, but I'm saying, this leads just like recruiting back in the day when it was high school, people are making decisions for all sorts of different reasons.
This actually, this leads me into the misinformation thing.
Yes.
Like, contrary to what a lot of people listening to this show think, we don't know everything.
We don't.
I wish I did, and I actually think it would be, whatever, that's a whole conversation for another. I don't know everything. And, yeah, even that, the two hosts of this show, I start to make a misinformed statement there, and Blum corrects me. So I guess, don't just take every burner on the internet as fact. My old co-host Ross Peterson used to say this really well. He would put us all in check. He would go, we know 10% of what's going on. The other thing I would point out, and good friend of ours, Jason, pointed this out to me today with these guys who were left in the portal. If what sucks is, or not the guys that necessarily left, the guys who didn't play last year. Mm-hmm. The one thing I can unequivocally promise all of you, if they would have helped, they would have played. Or at least in the coach's mind, okay? If they thought they had a better chance to win by playing Demarion Watson more, or Noyes Indrusitis more, or JT Rock more, any of those guys, Caden Fish more, they would have done it. They're not in the business of picking favorites and crap like that. That's not how this works anymore. So just everybody tap the brakes is what I'm saying. There's so much panic on every little nook and cranny and the portal has created this because we're sitting there and we're waiting for a random player to maybe mention to John Rothstein that he got a text from an Iowa State coach. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the recruitment's on either, is the thing. So it's a very complicated situation. I understand as a sports fan why it's so compelling to people. This is the NBA. The NBA's offseason is more entertaining than the season itself, and you're watching it play out in college sports right now.
And it's crazier than the NBA because there's
no rules.
There's no long-term contract, so it's every single year everybody's on the market. Can you imagine a world in the NBA if every single year LeBron, Steph Curry, Giannis, all those guys, Luka, could just go wherever they wanted, and you had to recruit them every year? I mean, that's what it is. So, yeah, part of me wishes it was back to the 90s when it was just, it came out in the paper, Iowa State signed Jared Holman today. And you didn't know all the steps it took to get to Jared Holman or all those guys. And now you do, which for good or bad, this is not easy. Think about any hiring process you've been a part of. Either you took a job or you're a hiring person. It's not always you get your first pick and then everything goes swimmingly.
I promise. I've covered every year of the portal. It's never gone perfectly. Ever.
For any school.
No, it doesn't work that way. And now you've got all these agents involved, and they can use schools against each other, and there's so many layers to this thing now. The funniest thing to me, we talked about it earlier in the week, was the portal opened. Portal's been Fran Fraschilla said it best on his tweet the other day. Portal's been open since November 5th. That's how it works. And every AAU coach has a stake in this. Every uncle, high school coaches aren't involved that much, but sometimes they are. It is a cesspool. College basketball recruiting has always been a cesspool. Well, now it's completely unregulated, and it's just some might call it capitalism. Capitalism has few rules, though, that in general you got to follow. And listen, it's interesting for the fans. I get it.
Yeah,
but you have to be able to filter out what's real and just tap the brakes. Otherwise, you're going to lose your minds.
Let's fast forward 2 weeks. I know Iowa State's going to have a really good roster. I do. I don't know who that guard is going to be. What Iowa State does with that potentially that extra spot. But I know, like, we just back up. We don't know how the sausage is made. We just see the sausage at the end of it. It's going to be fine. I promise you guys, it's going to be fine. The issues we're having right now and why the process is getting hung up is on just like the fans have urgency and panic, so do the coaching and administrators. And so what you're getting here is you miss out on a target, you go to target 2. Well, we can't miss out on target 2 because our fans might get pissed, so let's raise the price on that target. Agent then sees that. Agent says, okay, well, now school A is going to do this. You have to match it if you want the kid. And then the school has to go back to their people like, do we have this? Well, I don't know. We might take this. And then if you do that, okay, you can raise the price. We have that money. But if we do that, then we got to pay our remaining guys that are currently on the roster. And do we have that amount of money? And so every decision is not just one simple decision. Every decision made in this sprint of the portal impacts 10 different areas. And if you bring in the wrong guy, maybe you'll upset one of your current players, and then they go into the portal. Like, those guys can still go into the portal, by the way. You have to be cognizant of that at all times. Even if these guys say, yeah, I'll be back, it's not done until the portal's closed. It's not. And so, like, there is always this in the back of your mind, is like, you still got to take care of your people that are still on campus as well.
Yeah, you got to give them love.
You got to give them love, too. So it's like it's everything is just really, really difficult, and I feel for everybody in this situation. I do. I feel for the fans because you want to know now. I feel for the coaches because they're in a tough spot. They don't want to share info with you and me because if it gets out that they're after, and this 100% has happened, by the way, if it gets out that Iowa State, who is known for its prospect scouting and development, is after kid X, guess who sees that? Schools that have a lot of money and say, oh, Iowa State wants them, they must be pretty good. Let's give their agent a call. That's 100% happening right now. And so you really got to be careful there. If it gets out to the fans, and then the fans will get upset if you don't get that player, which we've seen that happen.
Yes, and now that's one of the reasons why they don't want the information out, because it makes them look worse.
It makes them look bad. I had a couple people, I've seen on the forums, I've had people text me, it's like, is TJ not as good a closer as he used to be? It's like, no, wait, like, hold on. Like, we are still 9 days into this. So,
they already have 3 of the 4, maybe 5, depending on what they do, spots that are just done with good players.
Yeah, that's great point. I mean, they are 75% done already.
I mean, how late did that 1 year go with Osun? Like, God, that went
to May. That was
yeah.
May.
Yeah.
And it is sped up, but it's sped up because, honestly, there is this urgency from fans and boosters and administrators that we need to know what you're getting and that our money is going to use right now. Like, we need to see it right now. And there's just no patience. There's no patience anywhere in college athletics right now. I think that's and it's arguably, should there be patience? I mean, again, I think there should be some grace to understand we're all navigating this for the first time. But I think immediately, if you don't get the answer you want, your first reaction is to panic and say, oh no, we're all screwed now. And that's not the case at Iowa State. It's really not. Iowa State's going to be fine. Iowa State's going to be A-okay.
Everything that I don't even know who the guard will be. That's a top 15 roster preseason next year.
Everyone's like,
maybe top 10, depending on I don't know.
Yeah, and the guard
top 4 in the Big 12.
See, if you look at the Big 12, and I saw some of this, it's like, oh, Iowa State's headed to the 7th or 8th of the Big 12. It's like, well, how do you know? You don't know that. Yes, BYU is going to be good. We know
Baylor
that.
got some guys.
Baylor's got some guys. Houston, we know, is going to be good. Kansas hasn't really done anything yet. I don't know what they're going to be like. We assume they will get players. Texas Tech has a lot coming back, honestly. TCU has spending money but not really getting much in return. I mean, there are going to be teams
You don't think Brock Harding is going to take the big
you guys,
blow?
if I shared with that, and good for him, what he got in the portal, you would be
Right place, right time.
mind blown. But yeah, I mean, you've got all these things, and I think it's way too early to say Iowa State's going to be X, Y, or Z in the Big 12 because we don't even know what some of these rosters are going to look like. Not to mention, you have no idea how the freshmen are going to be. And one thing I really wanted to mention here, because it's going to get overlooked, and just put it in the back of your head, college basketball is literally getting 25% younger overnight. All of those COVID players are phasing out because that COVID year is done for the most part next year. Why do I say that? Do not compare rosters next year to rosters this year. Everybody's getting 25% younger. That also means you will have, naturally, minutes-wise, more opportunities for freshmen to play. You're going to have to use freshmen because you're phasing out of the 23-year-olds and 24-year-olds. There's some, but not as many. And so everyone's like, oh, man, look at the Final Four teams. Iowa State, with its current roster next year and who they're bringing in, there's no way it can compete with that. Nobody can. Duke, Auburn, like these teams are like monsters in this current era. College basketball has never been better talent-wise than it is right now. It's going to drop off a little bit because all those older guys are phasing out.
Does that factor into the whole Cinderella's dead thing too?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, it's not. That's not going away. That is not. The Cinderella is not dead. This last 2 years, these teams got so old, and the wealthy teams just took advantage because they got all the old guys.
Yeah,
and it's going to. Yes, the wealthy schools and the big schools still have an advantage. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But those schools they cannot just get the well-made, ready-made guy every single time. Some will try, but I do think freshmen will make more of an impact next year than they have in the last 4 years.
All right. That was all I wanted to talk about. That's it. That's the show. I'm just kidding. No, massive women's basketball story I want to get to.
Yep.
Real quick on Andrew Rohde, the Virginia transfer who visited this weekend. It's a decision between Iowa State and Wisconsin, and we don't have anything else other than that. And we kind of told you guys that on Sunday, on the Sunday show, when people were telling us that nobody wanted Rohde, and no, Wisconsin's heavily recruiting him. It's where he's from.
Yep.
I think his parents both went there.
They did.
So like, this is a real recruiting battle going on, and we'll see where it ends up. I don't have anything else to add other than that.
No, I guess let me just share this insight, and I don't know a lot. I really don't. But what I understand is this is not a financial decision for Andrew.
Okay.
If it was a financial decision, he got offered more by a couple other places. Not Wisconsin, not Iowa State. He's looking for fit and everything else basketball-wise. This is not financial. Now, obviously, yes. Is he going to get paid? Of course. But his decision, from what I understand, is not due to anything NIL-related, anything financially. This is all on where do I want to be for my final year of college and where can I make the biggest impact.
Feels like great relationship with the Iowa State coaches. Wisconsin is home.
There you go. I mean,
that's what it feels like to me.
I totally agree. Again, I just caution people, not every decision made is financial in this world. It's a part of it, absolutely. But in this current circumstance, I would put Clough in a similar conversation. I don't believe either of those were directly financial.
Okay. And if he chooses Wisconsin, knowing that staff, they've probably got 6 other guys they've already talked to.
And a budget to find another good player, by the way.
Yes, they will get a good player.
Yes.
Thanks some of our great sponsors. First and foremost, Kelderman Manufacturing. They've been with us a long time here on the show. Shout out to my buddy Mark Steck, Jeff Kelderman, 2 of the biggest Cyclones you will ever find. I was cleaning out my garage the other day, and those signs that they would put in my yard, my 40th birthday sign. This really good buddy of ours, Ross, had a death in the family, and had Kelderman make one of those signs to put out at the grave of his family member, which I thought was really cool. It's one of my favorite Cyclone Fanatic stories. Of course, our friends at Game Day Men's Health, they have about a year I've been going to Game Day Men's Health, down 35 pounds. They've done a great job with me. Really love those guys over there. Shout out to my guy, Bill Morris. Lindsay is a rock star. She's my doctor there. All the great people. Nicole, awesome group.
Chris, I don't think I would have been able to survive the last...
Without the tea?
Without the tea. The portal season has been
Heck yeah, baby.
But hey, I'm up and at 'em 6:30 every morning. Let's go.
Attaboy. Bloom's, we go to the Game Day Men's Health in Ankeny. You should too if you want a little pick me up and a little boost, baby. A little boost. HopeWoodJD.com is where you can get your will done in a day. And her wonderful husband, Jeff Wood, owns Gravitate Co-working. Getting to be spring. Got to get out of the house. I could not highly encourage to get out of the house more. I have a home office, and I have another office that is in Ankeny, and I like getting up and going somewhere helps me be productive at a much higher level. So shout out to gravitatecoworking.com. Y'all should consider it for yourself. Jada Williams. I haven't been this fired up for an Iowa State recruit in any sport in a long time. Certified baller. Jada Williams commits to Iowa State basketball. She comes from Arizona. She is legit. Not only that, Bloom, you got to be licking your chops. She has like almost 700,000 followers on Instagram. We got a marketing queen here in Jada Williams. Let's go. I'm going to buy her jersey tomorrow. Williams, get it? New favorite player for the Williams girls. Emily just retired, went on, whatever Emily's going to do. We're an Emily Ryan family. Yes. Greatest Cyclone of all time. Jada freaking Williams, welcome to Cyclone Nation.
You guys are she's going to be a fan favorite instantly. Huge.
She already is, baby. We're buying jerseys. We're doing everything over here at the Williams house.
That's Chris. I think you know this because this ties back to. So everyone's like, why does she have 600,000 followers? Just for context, Audie Crooks has 60,000 Instagram followers. So Jada was a McDonald's All-American. So now for the first time, I was able to have two McDonald's All-Americans on the same roster in either men's or women's basketball.
Let's get after it.
Addie Brown also a McDonald's All-American. And obviously, Jada went through this process. A lot of things worked in Iowa State's favor. Audie and Addie Brown being on the team were big reasons why. And then the neat part here, so Jada's from Rockport. Remember Rockport from your old KMA days?
Is she really?
Yeah, that's where the
How did I not
from.
know that?
Yeah. So,
God, I've called a lot of games down in Rockport.
So she was a basketball prodigy, as you might imagine. Ended up going west and grew up-ish in the LA area in Kobe's program, in the Mamba program. So she was in that Juju Watkins family, the whole Kobe, Mamba, and that's where she was on a reality TV show as a youngster in that AAU program and developed this huge national following.
That's cool.
But she is a dynamic player, huge personality in a positive way. Teammates fell in love with her on her visit. And guys, Iowa State women's basketball, some might have written off the Bill Fennelly era. Well, we're going now. Like we are.
Don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool.
How many times have people written off Fennelly? It's like, it feels like they're running out of steam over there.
I'm excited because I just know that, on the floor it's going to be helpful, but then, this is great for Iowa State. I mean, she is in that upper echelon of known, she's got superstar potential, quite honestly, but is humble enough to understand her position relative to Audie and Addie as well. And now, you bring back, which nobody talks about, Kenzie Hare. And if Kenzie gets healthy, she's a dynamic guard as well. A.J. Jackson's back. Sydney Harris is going to be back. Lily T. Like again, I think this team, the expectations, you weren't sure, but this adds a whole nother level to Iowa State women's basketball, and I'm excited for everybody involved. Well, I was a small part of it, connecting the dots, and one of the coolest things I've been a part of because this is great for Iowa State University.
So we can peel back a little bit here without being too specific. From what I understand, Brent, this was a deal where she really wanted to come to Iowa State.
Correct.
Like from the beginning.
Correct.
Like and I don't know, would this have been a deal? I don't know if you can even answer this if you know the answer. Would they have even reached out to her? Or would it just been like, well, we probably can't get her? Well, like I don't know how that would have gone, but like she really had eyes for Iowa State for a while now.
So what I understand is she obviously knew Addie. They played on the same McDonald's All-American group. And Iowa
And
State,
Addie's clone to the bone. Like, she loves it.
Man, Addie Brown doesn't get talked about enough. Everybody talks about Audie, and for good reason, but Addie Brown is right there. But so, as the kids do these days, Jada, so Iowa State goes and plays there in January. And from what I understand, with Jada's like, man, those players all care about each other, and they look like they're, like a family. And I don't know what Arizona's situation was. So she had reached out to Addie, as players do, and said, hey, let's chat. And so that kind of initiated it. I would say it's like, okay, well, probably we didn't think we'd have a chance, but let's at least explore it. And Iowa State beats Iowa, who had a much larger offer, by the way, Baylor and TCU to get Jada Williams. So
Kind of decent programs right there.
I mean, I think clearly this is a great win and very pumped for everybody involved here, but also pumped for the current players because, them staying really set the ball in motion. Let's be honest. Like this doesn't happen.
It's a different place to transfer to without Audie and Addie.
But also thank yourselves here. It's not just NIL support, which has helped. By the way, I want to make this known, C-Dub, because I got a little bit of pushback. We have separate funds for men's basketball, women's basketball, and football. So it's not like the funds used here for Jada Williams was part of the men's basketball fund. Because I got some, why are we using our money? But so I just want to get that clear. These are totally separate, and the budgets are well in advance. But really, it's just a really good fit, I think, for all involved, and excited to see Jada in a Cyclone uniform. And obviously, it's going to get a lot more, social media attention at the very least by having Audie, Addie, and Jada in the same
freaking
team.
Fired up, man. Like this made my day.
But the fan support is a huge reason why, because she saw it and was like, I want to play in front of those fans, and here we are.
I can't wait to show her to the Williams girls. They're gonna ball out. I know that I already had a text from my one of my nieces who follows women's basketball like I follow pro wrestling, and she was amped.
So you guys might know who Jada Williams is. I'm guessing your high school age kids do.
My niece Addison, who's going on her college visit to Iowa State next week, she was jacked.
Yep.
She texted the whole family chain. She goes, you guys have no idea how big of a deal this is. I was like, I have a decent idea, but that's pretty cool that you're reaching out like that.
I mean, I say that like this is a huge Iowa State win because the amount of eyeballs now on Iowa State, specifically the women's basketball program, will be exponential. Audie, Jada, and Addie will instantly become one of the top trios in women's basketball next year.
I mean, yeah, they had a year that I think they all wish would have gone better last season, but I think they're going to have a very good opportunity to redeem all of that because they're a year older.
Yes,
we all forgot about how young that team was last year. They played that brutal schedule at the beginning. A lot of people wrote them off. Team kept getting better throughout the year, so they don't get as good of a draw in the tournament, right? So you got to a lot of things happened. I'm all in. I got the stock bought. I'm going to keep dollar cost averaging up until the season on the Cyclone Women.
Well, 2 years for Jada as well. So all of those players, Ariana Jackson as well, Kenzie Hare as well, have 2 years left. And
that is sick.
Just like the men's side, C-Dub, the women are getting younger next year. I mean, like from a COVID standpoint. So some of these super teams in women's college basketball also will have to drop down and play more younger players as well. So Iowa State has gone from literally one of the youngest teams still in college basketball this year to now they're going to be one of the more veteran teams, just like that.
They should be one of the top 3 picks in the Big 12.
100% will be. Yep.
I mean, because TCU should drop off a little bit, right?
Yeah, but they're trying to reload with whatever
they got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Baylor will be right there at Iowa State.
Yep.
All right.
Well done. By the way, good job to the whole coaching staff for that one. They knocked it out of the park.
Want to remind everybody, it is Forever True Day. This means a lot to Bloom and I. Bloom used to work with the foundation. They're one of our great advertisers and just good friends. I'm doing television ads and stuff for them now. Really, really means a lot to me. If you guys could all go onto our social media, find our unique link, and make a donation, even if it's just $10. We just want to get as many Cyclones involved in this as possible. Find something, tweet about it, tell everybody that what you're passionate about at Iowa State. That's all I have for now. We do expect that the portal will keep on chucking. Get yourself a premium membership. Doing as good of a job as we can to keep everybody as informed as possible, responsibly, and not just throwing crap against the wall. That's how we do it here at Cyclone Fanatic. And I also want to let you know, we will have some spring football podcasts coming up. I have not forgotten about that. Been a lot going on. We have some dedicated spring football podcasts courtesy of our friends at A+ Lawn and Landscape that will be on the feed here in the next week or so. So we'll be diving into that as well.
Almost.
You got anything to add, Bloom?
Yeah, well, about 8 days into spring practice, Birdie informed me yesterday. They said, hey, obviously going to miss Jalen Knoll, maybe a first-round pick, but Xavier Townsend, as expected, has stepped into that role very well.
I hadn't heard that, but the fact that they made him available to the media immediately told me, oh, they like him. If they think you're an idiot, they don't do that.
Well said. You're going to enjoy him in the punt and kick return game, too. So, again, thanks to your support of We Will to make that possible, by the way. So I guess this isn't I would say basketball is going to be A-okay, but there's never a bad time to keep supporting and all that good stuff. So one real quick thing, C-Dub. An easy way, a fun way, and meet some football players as well. We have the We Will Collective Day at the Iowa Wild game on Sunday. Puck drop at 3 o'clock. You go to the We Will Collective Twitter.
What day is that? Sunday?
Sunday. This Sunday afternoon. We have 8 Iowa State football players that are going to be there. Tyler Moore from Johnson's going to drop the puck for the game.
Oh, cool. They'll
be there to take pictures, autographs. One of them's going to drive a Zamboni. The Iowa State hockey pet band's going to be there. We got some cool auction items. So we get a percentage of the ticket sales if you use our link on our social. So you can still walk up and get some, but we don't get a credit for that. But please show up. The Wild are supporting our NIL efforts by allowing us to do this. So
that sounds fun.
Any help, and again, tickets are $20.
Getting to be playoff hockey time, too.
Yeah, and I don't know a dang thing about hockey, but I know it's a good time there. And
I actually enjoy Wild games.
I do too.
I'm not a huge hockey fan, but if you can go in person, it's a lot of fun.
So the cool part here for everybody, the chuck-a-puck. Have you done the chuck-a-puck ever at a hockey game?
I have not.
So they literally chuck a puck and they give it to a nonprofit, like half and half or whatever it is. Well, the We Will Collective is the nonprofit for the chuck a puck. So go buy a ticket, then participate in the chuck a puck, and again, all this goes right to our NIL fund to keep on keeping on in the portal.
That's dope, dude.
Thank you. Hope to see you there.
Appreciate you, Broom.
Yeah, we'll keep fighting. Hey, the sun is out.
Keep on trucking.
I think we're gonna have I'm excited. The next 10 days, I think, will really help the future of Iowa State basketball. Don't panic.
Just calm down, everybody.
We're all right. We're okay.
Jesus, does anybody enjoy just freaking out over every tiny ass little tweet from a burner? Honestly, what are we doing? Everybody needs to calm down.
Have a Cody Road.
Yes. Smile.
Maybe, if you're in the right state, maybe a gummy. Maybe that would help.
Hey, I can't endorse that. That's illegal.
Same.
Appreciate you, Bloomer.
Cheers.
Aiden Wyatt producing as always. This is a Jada Williams fan pod. Absolutely no objectivity coming from this guy when it comes to Jada Williams. Biggest fan in the Cyclone fan base.
That jersey behind you. It's coming.
Oh, I'm getting it. It's going right next to Kale Brazina. I got to get me a Miles Mindazoon, and we're going to be set. I'm just going to have jerseys all around me of my favorite Cyclones of all time. I'm going to get me a Homan, little Emily Ryan, some Niang, Adam Carper, Mike Brantner.
Everyone's like, man, the tea's flowing through Chris today.
No, I'm just there's a mixture of pissed off, irritated, and come on. Everybody, I'm trying to be the inspirational head coach here. Everybody needs to calm down.
Trust the process.
Take a goddamn deep breath. Okay? All right, have a nice week. We'll be back on Sunday.